How have you been? Good to see you. I'm right now in the park. As you can see, it's
hmm
yeah. So, would you like to share some wins? Since I think last Thursday, that will be last Thursday, right?
yeah. Um, where have
Wins,
we got to?
progress, thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just see if I can pull up a board and then yeah, okay, fine. I can yeah, so I've so the main win I suppose is that um I've got so I've had a lovely weekend, fantastic, it's really nice, family barbecue, that sort of stuff. That was really wonderful.
Wow,
Um,
nice.
so just really good that Olga and I spent some time with one of my nieces and her husband and their kids or their child. Um, so that was really cool. And then at the end of last week, it would have been Friday actually. So I was speaking with Anastasia about what I felt was the challenge that we were facing with the website and the whole process and getting that from concept to fruition. So she offered to help, and she also offered some advice and said, "Oh well, if you start from this point, then you'll get a much better end product, and these are some of
Oh,
the steps you need to take." So I said, "That's great." She said, "Because I was saying basically, um, how do you use FEMA?" Um, and she went, "Well, if you tell me what you want doing, it'll be quicker. It will be quicker if I do it than you trying to learn how to do it."
that's what Josh said, actually.
So, um, and well, I mean, because Josh was saying he doesn't know how to use FEMA, right?
That's correct. I mean, Josh
Yeah,
was saying that if we got a professional,
yeah,
UI UX designer to do it, it will be actually not taking too much time.
yeah. So, but for that to happen, then there needs to be clarity of what's required. So, when we get into the main bulk of our discussion, I'll show you how far we've got with that. But that was really good because she offered. However, I think the flip side of that is, and the other win is that she's more flexible with receiving payment. So what that means then is that we can probably look at a token payment. Obviously, if we make it a token payment, then it needs to be, comparable for the level of risk that the tokens might add up to nothing. Um, you know, assuming the worst, um, assuming the best, well, and that's a really great investment. See what I mean? So, um, I think we just need to figure that out. But the positive side is that we've got somebody who's a knows what they're doing, B can do it really well, C is willing to work with us on that basis and not going to sit there and bellyache about not having enough dollars. So I think that's a really good kind of combination of elements. So yeah, so that I think is I think we've got a couple of wins there really.
Nice,
But
nice, excellent. All right, I think sound very positive. Okay. All right. So I guess I'll share mine. Um, okay. So I guess one life, one work related. Um, so my mother had an eye surgery with her eye. I don't know how to call that in English. It's the white thing that in your eye that,
cataracts, cataracts.
cataracts. Yes, cataracts. Yeah. So she had I mean, it's a minor surgery, but still we, spent 2 nights in a nearby hotel. So that was last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And what, it's great that, it went smoothly, all that. But I also did an eye check. Okay, so while waiting for her. So doctor told me my eyes actually, the glands are not secreting properly. Okay, again, I don't know how to call that it's the dry eye syndrome in Chinese. Okay,
Okay.
something, I don't know how do you call it in English? But anyway, dry eye. So doctor prescribed some, artificial tears droplets for me. And I kind of learn about those things can, become addictive and, can replace your natural thing. And I was never into, I know Western medicine is great at doing emergency, like fixing things quickly, but not very good in terms of reputation of actually restoring health or actually keeping you healthy. So I decided to drop those things, but also again decided to start doing eye exercise myself. And also, actually, because in the summer we apply what's a limited screen time for our kids, because they also have nearsightedness. We wanted to prevent going further. They have limited screen time. So I thought, I apply screen time to my kids. Why can't I do that to myself? So basically decided to experiment for 7 days to limit myself to just 60 minutes of screen time, uh, defined as, reading text. So this wouldn't be screen time. Okay, in that it would be like reading, like, because when I read, actually what I do is I would take off my glass and, like doing like that. So basically any kind of writing, reading, on screen, that's kind of close, will be limited to 10 minutes, 10 minutes session. And I've been doing it for a couple of days. And I think the amazing thing that comes out from this is it immediately forces me to really focus my eyes on the most important critical stuff. Actually, I found myself to be more productive, thinking about delegation more, okay, using voice a lot more, and even actually started to write on a notebook. Okay, so I don't know if you've noticed, I don't use a notebook. I do everything on my cell phone. And actually, I've been living, purely on cell phone basis since June,
I know, which I
since
think
my
is
vacation.
stupid, but anyway.
I've been living on cell phone purely, for almost 3 months now. Again, that was kind of an experiment to see how far I can go. But now I'm actually getting back to, I'm getting myself a notebook and doing a lot of the thinking, writing. Like I did my weekly review on notebook, AM stuff on notebook, reducing my screen time.
Sorry, do you
Again.
mean a notebook as in something that you handwrite?
A physical notebook with pen.
Okay.
Okay. I know you do that, but I haven't been doing that for maybe over a decade or decades, maybe a couple of decades. So that's a huge behavior change. Okay.
Yeah,
But
well,
that
I commend you on that.
yeah,
That's
but
that's that's a really important thing.
right. But I think the important thing is, I think the win here is I'm willing to go at length to do some really going through some behavioral change in order to, make certain things happen or, make health really a priority. And I think this, I have to thank my parents for them. They're in their 70s. Both of them are having illness, and they visit doctor just regularly, which is something I don't want to end up. So I think that helped in terms of motivating me to really keep health as a priority at this age. Okay, so that's the first win. And obviously applying various things we learned from Ben, tiny habits, 10x is around 2x, keeping yourself as the context, not the content, right? So the content can change. I think secondly is so this is more professionally related. Okay, I think you and I talk about how important funnel marketing is. We think that that could be the thing to take up, make an impact for JCF, and maybe also for the online course I'm doing. And I've been talking about, I should spend 30 minutes on funnels daily. I've been saying that, I've been writing that for, I don't know, maybe at least a month. Okay. But now it's happening now. Okay. Actually, these last couple of days, again, starting small, but just 30 minutes. I'm going back to Russell's stuff, starting from listening. But I think at some point it's going to be some, designing, doing, and working on that as well. That, yeah, basically I'm dedicating 30 minutes of the time I'm waking up on funnel learning and, working on something related. So yeah, so those are a couple of things. So JCF wise, I guess one thing is yeah, we did have a customer that again wants to withdraw, and this time I'm thinking about applying your questions, recommendations, and also I'm documenting this as a SOP so that it can be delegated. So also thinking about delegating that out this time. All right, so those have been the wins. Yeah, it's
I
all right.
wouldn't delegate it out until you understand what the right process is.
Oh, okay, I see.
How would you know that the person has done has achieved the goals? How would you know whether or not the person has understood what to do?
Oh, okay.
Point
I
about
guess that.
delegating is when you know what needs to be done, you can give it to
Mhm.
somebody because it's so obvious to you because you do it on a daily basis, and therefore you can
Right.
be clear about what your expectations are and what the process is. If
Okay.
you don't know that, you don't do that, then how can you delegate it properly? Because the person
Oh,
who
okay.
takes it will interpret stuff as the way they want to, and
Right.
therefore they may or may not get that correct. They might advance the process, or equally, they might make it worse. You just don't know. It's too random. So therefore, by understanding what the process is yourself, you can your delegation is better. So I don't
Okay.
think delegation just because I don't like doing this, so I won't do it. I think that is the wrong way of doing delegating. It should be I understand what needs to be done. I am clear with what the outcomes need to be, and therefore I can delegate more efficiently because I don't
Okay.
have I know what needs to be done. Now,
Okay.
and nowhere does it say. I mean, when Dan reflects about how he has learned to delegate, he didn't sit there and start in the 1970s saying, right, well, you know what, I don't like doing this, so I'm not going to do it. It was a process of learning, and in fact, Babs actually helped him understand, look, you doing these things over here, you don't need to be doing them. You need to be doing these things over here because that's what you're really good at. So just let's take care of this stuff with somebody else. And then it was his realization that, yeah, I don't need to be doing that. And in that whole process of who, not how, in his original book, he talks about how he finds, how he realized this realization that I can be just delegating this out to somebody who's got a unique ability at doing X. But he knew he had already been through the whole processes himself. So he realized that he was incompetent at, I don't know, getting people to sign checks.
Right. I see.
Right.
Okay.
So I think
So, right.
I don't think that delegation out just because you think, oh well, that's a process, I need to get rid of that. I think at the start you need to there needs to be clarity with what needs to be done first,
Okay.
because otherwise,
Okay.
how do you judge whether or not they've done a good job or not?
Right. True.
How would
So
you know?
yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So I guess that's a discussion point. Okay. That's something to discuss. Would you like to do that, or I think maybe there's something. Yeah. So maybe we can start the discussion part now. Um.
Well, that was
So.
I don't know that for me. So I mean, yeah. So you've talking about click funnels, and you've spoken about um uh I mean, for me, I'd be inclined to suggest that what is it in the eye drops which is which would make you addicted to it?
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Because eye
I
drops,
guess. Okay.
if you look at the label and see what the content is, effectively, eye drops are, I mean, generally speaking, they are salt and water. They're just
Okay.
there to
Right.
stimulate. There are medicated ones. If you've got an eye infection, then you actually can buy a medicated either cream or drop
Right.
which works into the eye because that deals with an inflammation within the eye. But that's different to stimulating the duct because your eyes are dry. Because essentially,
Right. I,
so
I guess it's again, okay. Well, I think we might jump into a long discussions on this. Just be warned. And which is something I think it might be worth postponing a bit. But I think it's actually related to the same philosophy that Master Ye is preaching, which I happen to subscribe to, which is a lot of I don't deny the effectiveness or the I guess in terms of elevating issues pain at the moment. Okay, it works, right? I think eye drops works. So does penicillin. Oh, sorry, I mean like what's that? Some painkiller, right? But it doesn't address the root cause. There's a root cause to why that happens. For example, my dry eyes, which is, for example, overly using my eyes, right? And not having adequate rest, staying late, related to my behavior, my habits, my lifestyle, right? Those are the root cause of the issue. And my eyes are dry. I can definitely use some droplets to fix it, make it less irritating, but it's solving the symptoms, but not solving the root cause. I like to, I guess, address the root cause as much as I can. I guess that's just a different kind of approach, in terms of dealing with the issue. So,
you know what the root
yeah.
cause is? But you
Okay.
listed half a dozen things that might be the root
Right,
cause.
right.
I mean, when you say, "Oh, I've lasted since June on my mobile," I just think that's bonkers. Why would you spend all of that time using only a mobile phone to do what you're principally a technologist? You might
Okay.
be, you might think a lot, but
Right,
your interface of your thoughts to
right.
getting those thoughts down
Uh-huh.
should not be a tiny little screen where you've got to squint at it and you can only use your thumbs to type. There's the most
Okay.
unproductive way of working.
Okay,
There's a
right,
reason why
right.
we've got 10 fingers and the QWERTY
Right,
keyboard is so easy to use, right? Because it's
right.
designed
True.
for optimum efficiency.
Okay, true.
That is not designed for optimum efficiency. That is merely designed for convenience. And using
Right.
this on a constant basis is not convenient.
Okay.
So one might argue that your cause of your eye dryness is if you're saying it's I don't sleep enough. Well, okay, fine. There's one answer to that, then, isn't there? There's another that I should spend less time on the screen. I should spend less time squinting at this tiny little thing and get my computer back from Air Canada, who stole it from you, and start working properly.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the fact that you're writing your ideas in a book, I think is incredible. That is probably one of the most important things to do because we are so detached from the physical reality of transitioning our thoughts through our fingers to paper. And in fact, there becomes a craft in the way in which we write. And calligraphy is a lost art, but it is an art.
That's right.
And
Right.
that
That's true.
element of creation is really important for us from a psychological point of view, I think, which will probably bring tears to your eyes once you start doing it properly.
That's great. Thanks.
But
Those.
anyway,
Well, I guess I do have an answer for that, and which is, I'm really inclined to become more mobile, and travel light and all that. So, which is why I've been seeing whether it's possible to do it mobile only. And it was forced to me by circumstance, obviously. But I think I did actually found it useful and enjoyed, getting some refined. But I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, with the work style plus force onto the device, that probably contributed. But then you know, I'm looking now to how, again, how to upgrade better to the next level. So yeah, I do have the intention to continuously to limit work time. So I think that's our forcing function to help. That, I guess that's the that's my take. Yeah. So all right. So should we continue, I guess, on the discussion part? Okay. All
Mhm.
right. So yeah. All right. So anything you like to, I guess, show?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, I think the progression that we got with the oh, what was it? With the website, with the pages.
Right. Right. Okay. Right. All right. So you mentioned that there's certain things that's I
Can
mean,
you
there's
see
a
the
current
screen?
version, right? Yeah, I can see the screen. Yes.
Okay, so when I showed Anastasia the wireframes,
Right. Okay.
and then compared that to the website,
Mm-hmm.
she said she found it more confusing than I found it.
Oh,
And
okay. Okay.
given that she's a new user with an understanding of technology, it was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. And then she said, right, well, moving forward, then you need to have a user flow so
Mm-hmm.
you
Okay.
understand
Right.
where the journey that you want your users to go on.
Right.
Then you put down your wireframes, your
Mm-hmm.
basic stuff, and then you
Okay.
kind of put on there your, you start dressing it.
Right.
And then once you've got the user flow, then you
Mm-hmm.
give it well, you should give it out to non-users to experience and give feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a process of iteration. I said, yeah, that's great. We don't really have time for that. What we need to do is get it from where it is now to having a better flow and a better alert. She said, well, okay, we can put a band-aid on it and do
Okay.
something which is a quick fix, but it still needs a user flow to start with. So
Mm-hmm.
what I've
Okay.
done in Miro, using my tablets that I can
Okay.
draw, as a
Right.
sitting there typing it all out on these little things. But then,
Right.
so you've got the custom. So this is it, the customer journey. You
Right.
got, sorry. So they either land from a funnel or they come from direct from our
Right.
website.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got an account creation page. So do they have an
Mm-hmm.
account? Yes or no?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if it's no, then we go down here, account setup, form page. So this is much the same as our
Current version, right?
current kind of version, but the capture stuff, are you human?
Okay.
First name, nationality. Are they from blacklist countries? Yes or
Uh-huh.
no? So if yes, then they get a responder saying, we're sorry, but we can't process your account at this time. We need to tell them why. That isn't in there, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But give them a reason to contact us so that it's not
Mm-hmm.
completely shut off, right? So there's
Okay.
still
Right.
dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
If it's no, then it's country of residence. I think we need that from a GDPR point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Password, then having the passwords match. I don't know if we have that.
Mm-hmm.
Email and validation, and then choice of username. I'm not sure if the order in which these come is necessarily this order, but this is the way it came out of my head.
Okay.
And then also having a mechanism for whether or not this username has already been chosen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all standard stuff. Then KYC, this is much the same as the one. Again, here we might use another company for that, depending.
Okay.
So this is the same process. We've got a login page here. So is this the first time login?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I first wrote this, I was thinking this is the first time that somebody logs in.
Mm-hmm.
So has the user set up a donation recipient? Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I thought about it from the point of view of this is the first time, but I put lines through this because I'll come back to it later, but we'll see that as you get into it. Then it's very similar to the wireframes, but it's actually a flow rather than a wireframe. So,
okay,
oops,
it's a process flow, right? It's
yeah,
a user process flow. Yeah,
exactly. So we got that. I mean, actually, I just realized if I press submit here, where does it take the person? So where does it take them? And I suppose I've got to draw a line somewhere to take them somewhere, because I've got to submit here, so that takes them back. So that comes back to this place here. So this is a main page. So this is the main, and
the dashboard.
I realized I didn't put any hierarchy into these main pages here in terms of, but I'll draw a menu bar which shows the hierarchy, if that makes sense. But anyway, so on the main page, we've got, so welcome subscriber name, username, and we got our account summary. So this tells us the main numbers of what you've got. So your legal footer. Okay, and then if you choose along the menu bar, you can go to your investment page. So this is this tells us about a JCF wallet page. Again, we might be using a third party for this bit. So in which case we don't really know what the process is and whether or not they want to use their KYC, AML and stuff like that. But, you know, assuming that they've got, if we have the ability for them to put an amount in here and submit, that's great. If not, then we've got to work out, we'll have some sort of form of saying, well, that's the address. Now here's what we need to do. And we'll have to educate them and stuff like that. So, and I think the use of those little question marks that Josh was pointing out on the other side will be really useful. So at the bottom of the investment page, you've got an investment summary. And here I thought just the first 5 investments. So it's the date of investment, the number of US dollars in, the NAV on the day, and then the number of tokens. So they've got a clear understanding of the transaction.
Maybe also a balance field. I think a balance. Maybe we should also have a balance, as in like how much is at the end of this transaction of your account.
If you put, so okay, that's interesting. So maybe
it could be in and out. Withdrawal will be out. It's not just US dollar in. Would also be out.
Yeah, but okay, so give me a second. Balance, I mean, the balance is well, the balance, that's the balance there.
Oh, okay, all right.
You've got a number of tokens that you got, and then the value of those tokens.
I see. Okay, so you're saying that okay, yeah, because usually on bank statements, usually when you look at your statement, each row of in and out, usually you would have a balance, knowing like how much you have left.
Yeah, but there's no out on this one. So this is an investment page. This is how much you've invested.
Okay.
And then you've got a withdrawal page.
Ah, I see. Okay.
So again, if we're using third-party frameworks, then this might be different. When they're withdrawing, they get reminded about that. That's the withdrawal amount. So this is the withdrawal fee amount. So that gives them the total USD wallet address that they need to send it to. Then there's a multi-factor process for doing that.
Right.
And then there's a statement summary. So you've got tokens out, NAV on day, withdrawal fee, and then the US value.
Okay, I see.
Now, if we choose to change the layout of that, then that's fine and dandy. Doesn't really matter. But maybe on the main page, then you would have this bit here laid out differently. So if you wanted to have it like a traditional bank statement, then maybe there's I would have thought that's your balance there, and then that's your balance of your because if I'm looking at the moment, I want to know. So the first thing I want to know is, well, okay, how many tokens I've got? In fact, we could even have a percentage increase or decrease here or something like that.
Right.
That might be an interesting thing. Maybe we'll have total in, total out, I suppose. That would be an account summary of all of these things here. So that might need a little bit of reworking, but anyway. So anyway, that's the withdrawal bit. Then that's the transaction history. So this is everything.
Mm.
Having an option to download. So you've got total inbound, total donations, total withdrawals.
Okay. Okay.
Then you've got a settings page, and this is where I got to this morning. So this
Okay.
is where I made a change, because on the settings page, if I go to donation recipient, then that takes me back. Oops. Oh, what have I just done? I didn't mean to do that. 1 second, sorry. So that takes us back to this bit here, which is why I scrubbed this bit out. Right. Because it just brings us back to this loop.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah,
that's the part where adding a donation recipient, right? Adding or
yeah,
modifying a donation recipient.
yeah. So if you click on there, yeah, we can add, you can subtract or whatever, which is a good point, because I didn't put that on the framework there. Maybe there should be an add and subtract bit, can remove somebody. Oh, indeed, that's a really good point, because then it's add and subtract. Yeah. Let me just make a note of that, actually.
Okay, sure. All right.
I'll do it on here because it'll be quicker.
So yeah, let me know if you're done.
Yeah, that's done.
Okay, yeah, by the way, so anything else you'd like to share? Or that's pretty much current process?
This is pretty much it, really.
Okay, all right, great. So feedback?
Yeah.
Okay, so first, I think it's an excellent design. Okay, I think that captures quite well what we want to do at this moment. And also, I think pretty much all the functionalities, also the main flow. So
Good.
Commend you on that. Okay, I think it's quite good. My only feedback actually is the part, and I think this is a discussion point, where whether we want to separate the invest and withdraw into two tables, or maybe put them into a single one. I have seen both. Well, actually, to think of it, I think most of the crypto exchange, for example, like Max, I can share on my screen the Taiwanese exchange that, and I think maybe we can look at Binance as well. So what happens is, I think they separate between let me just turn off my camera. Okay, so for example, you can see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the wallet page, they have what's called a record. Okay, and this is kind of like what you presented. There's investment. Okay, there's withdrawal. Okay, so it talks about the different, there are other like internal transfer, things like that. And then there's this history page. Okay, these are all the history, different records. But seems like, like these are the records for pairs. But in terms of invest and withdrawal, I think it's separately presented. And I think for some reason, crypto exchange have adopted this format. I'm suspecting because it's often the case that you have multiple different kinds of tokens, current cryptos, and so it might be clear to look at them this way. Yeah, on the other hand, like bank statements, I think for banks, typically they would just have like a full transaction history of, in and out, right? So for example, like this is, yeah, I think you, okay, I don't have it
Yeah,
here.
yeah, I get it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So basically, you know, but because bank typically deals with just one fiat, right? And if you have like different kind of fiat, let's say, you know, my bank might offer Taiwan dollar, US dollar, they will be separate accounts. So I guess that's why they have chosen to do that. Um, yeah, I, I think I am currently in the, you know, more inclined to put it in a single table, okay, so that you can clearly see like in, out, you know, dividends, everything just from one glance. And also it's because we are showing about your JCF token balance. Okay, as opposed to, you know, let's say exchange where you have multiple wallets of different cryptos. So right, in the interface you just saw, they kind of like like put all the invest, all the withdrawal, you know, into the same table. So that's my current view. Um, Even if we later start to offer different tokens, you know, let's say we have wealth tokens, you know, we have, you know, the game token, whatever, you know, different kinds of tokens, might still makes, you know, from the token's perspective, might be easier to look at it, you know, just the ins and outs, the increase, decrease in terms of the size and balance. So that's my current view, but I don't know if you think it makes, you know, if you think separating them might make more sense.
Um, yeah, well, obviously, I do think it makes more sense to separate them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put it down there like that.
Okay, okay, all right, okay. All
I
right.
think logistically to do it, operationally to do it, is probably easier to have separate pages because the account summary
Uh-huh.
that we
If you're
saw
the present, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that gives you the top line of everything that you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
You know, maybe what I mean, the balance is what your dollar token, what your dollar value is.
Right.
Maybe having it. I mean, I think it's the finite. The point is the process for this is to the journey that the user goes on. So what do we want that journey to be? We want them to have full transparency. How we actually portray that, whether or not it's a table with everything in it or separated. I mean, also, I think the thing for me is that whenever I look at a bank account, or the first time I look at a bank account, I had to sit there and go, so is this in or out? Okay, so it's on the in or out column. Is that adding up correctly? And you know, I wanted to check everything. So just having all the ins in one places and all the outs in one places. Ultimately, I'm only really interested as a user. My perception is I'm only really interested about how much have I got in the account today.
Oh,
That's
okay.
the top line
Okay.
thing.
All
So
right.
I've got
Okay. Not
$100.
necessarily of the history. Not necessarily of the
Yeah,
history.
yeah, I don't give a stuff whether
Okay.
it's up or down, to be honest with you. If I look at my
Okay.
trading account, and the one number I look at is what's the total value of the portfolio? It is
Okay.
X amount of dollars. Okay,
Okay.
great.
All right. Okay.
Now I
Good.
want to go and look at what's the
Okay.
detail. I can
All
go and
right.
choose to look at the detail. But again, that's just a personal opinion, and that's not necessarily right.
Okay.
And I think this is why it's
Okay.
important that we, you know, when we've got it, if we agree kind of like a starting point, if we think we're at a junction where we could go one of two ways, well, then
Mm-hmm.
A/B testing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Okay.
power of A/B testing, right?
Right. Right.
Because you
Right.
and I don't know that we're right.
Mm-hmm. True. True.
We might think it's a really great idea,
Right.
but
Right.
if .com
Exactly.
secrets tells you anything, it's one of the things it tells you is do A/B testing, because what you think is a good
Exactly.
idea is not
Right.
necessarily.
That's true. Yeah. Always, well, listen to the market. listen to the clients.
Exactly. We don't,
Right. So
we don't do that
yeah.
at the moment. So
Okay. All right. Fine.
yeah.
So one thing that spends from this discussion, I think, is to let whoever's doing the execution, Josh in this case, for example, that then know that this potentially could be a point that will change, that might change in the future, right? And so that try to make it flexible underneath, so that even when the interface has to be changed, it can be changed relatively easily, quickly, as opposed to be another major engineering task. So I think it's just with be mindful, let the tech team be mindful of this this consideration.
I think
All right,
though
yeah.
that has to be a statement throughout though, for all of it, really.
Okay.
Okay,
All
I
right.
mean, what's going to speak? What's the thing is, what we need now is we want a quick fix, want it really done as quick as we can. And so doing it quickly means that we're not going to, we know that it's going to have multiple iterations.
Right.
And I think the thing is, if we can get it to a point where it's, as far as we're concerned, it's 80% done. The fact that we might iterate a number of times once we've got people rolling on. So, for instance, it might be that the question marks to tell people what to do will be for stage 1. Having a walkthrough video will be stage 2, for instance. But anyway.
All right. So I don't, yeah. So I agree. No further feedback, and I think if you're happy, then I think we should move to the next stage and allow
Well, I ain't finished yet. So,
yeah.
and you're actually on you're on that as a share.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So if you want to sit there and type in some comments, then go ahead.
Okay. Okay. All right. But I think it's good as it is now. I mean, given what I've seen, for me, that's enough to move, into start to build, to do evaluation of the, I guess, of the engineering effort. I think that.
Well, okay. So all of that does is that helps me from a UI UX point of view, is we put in there a process of where we want the customer to go from A to B. Then it's designing how that looks and feels. And then once we've got that design kind of nailed, which is all we're going to do, is we're going to take the current layout and just slightly tweak it to have a couple more boxes here and there, right? And then we can give that to Josh and say, there we go, that's what we want to have, bearing in mind that we might change it all tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. All
right. But
I don't.
What I'm trying to say here is I don't think this is going to be I don't think this is going to be a 2-week thing. I don't think it's going to, I just don't. I'm having to reevaluate our timelines here, because if we had an unlimited budget with unlimited designers and unlimited time, then or even a limited one, we don't have one, full stop. But if we had a limited one, then at least we would be able to get that time. At the moment, I think then that we've got to be realistic about how long it's going to take, and it's going to drag on a lot longer. But in the meantime, once we've got that done, for instance, so I've shared with you documents on what I believe to be the kind of the embryonic element of what I think we should be doing for ClickFunnels, based upon what I've sat there and already done from reading through and going through the process with the book. I don't know how different the books are to the audio versions. I would be surprised if I'd be surprised if they're a word for word thing. Maybe they are, I don't know. Or maybe they're a synopsis. But I think there's a lot of value in reading the book, because I think there's a lot of detail there. So what I'm just worried about. So there's a couple of things actually. So one, Idea 9 is an entity. It's not JCF, and I think what we might need to either rename Idea 9 if you're paying for it. Then maybe we should rename it to JCF or set up a separate one. I think then also.
Okay, you're talking about the domain. Okay, domain is something that's changeable.
I'm just talking about the name of the click funnel. That's all.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay.
So if you're calling it Idea 9 as the click funnel, and you're paying for it for the benefit of Idea 9, so that you market your training, as opposed to marketing JCF.
No, just one quick feedback. I think that's something that's changeable. ClickFunnels is flexible enough to put on any domain, actually. So if you already purchased some domain, you can definitely use that as your ClickFunnels site. It's just some background.
Can't hear you.
I'm saying
you're cutting out.
Changeable. It's changeable. The domain. It's changeable in terms of the actual domain you see. ClickFunnels is flexible enough. If you purchase some domain, you can.
Yeah, I get that bit. Okay. You're lagging really badly.
Should be that domain. Yeah.
Shinyan, you're lagging.
Yeah. Okay. Lagging.
There's no sense in what you've just said.
All right. Is this better now? Okay.
Well,
now
maybe.
How about now? Is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it
okay? So
is the lag better now? Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Well, I think what happened was a helicopter flew through, so it probably causes some magnetic disturbance to the to the wireless connection, to the cellular network. Okay. So, all right, but anyway.
Yeah, okay, I get your point. You can change the domain. I get your point. You can change the domain, right? But I mean, that wasn't. So my point, I didn't believe that you couldn't. What I was just saying is that if you're paying for it to be a marketing platform for one company, does it matter that you're going to be doing it for another? And I suppose ClickFunnels doesn't care about what name you put on it. It's just whether or not you're going to, I don't know. But anyway, I don't know. That's why I was asking the question. But if it's fine, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you're going to be doing stuff with ClickFunnels, right? If you're going to be taking time to do stuff with ClickFunnels, then I think that we should not be duplicating our workload, because that's inefficient. So fine, do it, but let's do it together. So
yeah, sure.
So that it's not. There's no point you reinventing what's already. Well, there's no point of us both working at the same thing from different angles, right? Because we'll just go around in circles otherwise. But so that's that.
So yeah, for sure. No, I don't think there's concern there yet, because right now I'm just learning about kind of the funnel, again revisiting the funnel concepts and see how that will apply to the to our current funnel. Yeah, again, ClickFunnels specifically is a tool, right? But I think the more important thing is about how you design, for example, your offer, your presentation, your target audience, clarifying all those things. Yeah. So, all right. So I guess anything else you'd like to discuss? Seems like that will be the next version. Will be the ones with the the modified screenshots, then, right?
Yeah.
That would be the next one. And okay, so I guess there's just one more thing I'd like to share, is that there's actually called Funnel Hacking Live. Okay, I don't know if you're aware of this. Let me
No.
just, okay. It's one of the, I think one of the main events hosted by Russell annually. And they're just, I don't know if it's still, so yeah, this is, let me share my screen. Okay, so I think that's the, yeah, this is the funnel hacking live. So it's September 27 to 30th. Okay, and it's basically the you know, the live training event by Russell and his team. And you know, like this year, again, as usual, they will invite a lot of guests, and also it's going to be live training exercise for, I think, for 4 days, right? For 4 days. And does Ben still live in Florida?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Because that place sounds awfully familiar to where Ben was living. And you can definitely see Ben here, right? You see, that's Ben.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he might be going on stage for the event as well. Yeah, because one of the bonus that you know, yeah, so they're giving yeah, 2 Clubs award. So yeah, so I mean, he's giving a lot of I think bonuses. One of them is Ben's training, you know, on one of the behavioral stuff. So yeah, just don't know if you'd be interested to attend. This is I think it's a $1,000 investment. Yeah, just for the what's your thing? What do
Not
you
really.
think? Not really? Okay, all right. All right. So right now you think it's probably enough to follow the book and just do it. You know, get the first version done.
I think there's plenty to learn from the book. The thing
Okay.
is, right, all of the book is in the book he says, look, the book is a sales filter. Right? That's one of his funnels.
Right.
And if you look at Three Hag, she wrote Three Hag to sit there and go, I just wrote this for a manual so that you just get on and do it yourself.
Right.
And then when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it given, you know, in that book, there's enough there to get involved with property. Why I didn't do that is I didn't have the personal confidence to get on and do it. So when I got the option to take training, I took it. But I think it's, you know, once you start taking action on things, you and I, right? What, you know, there's a series of things that we need to keep doing to get us to the goal. So our first goal is 1,000, right?
Right.
1,000 users. Right. If we can generate 1,000 readers or downloads of our ebook, that then will tell us something, right?
Right.
And then from that we can iterate. Now, that might tell us how many people, but you know, we know that once we've got 1,000 read or downloads of the ebook, right, we've got 1,000 emails. We've got 1,000 emails that we can then move them on to the next stage of the value ladder.
Right.
I mean, that live event, I mean, okay, it's already 12,000 people registered. You're going to go to an event with 12,000 people. There's not going to, I don't know how much learning is going to be there.
Okay. Well, I guess
it'll be an amazing thing to go to. It'll be a great thing to go and have a rah, rah, rah and feel really uplifted. And yeah, everything's going to be wonderful. But I would rather spend $1,000. And well, it's not just $1,000 though. That's just to attend. You got to get there, and then you got to live there. So
I think
You know,
there's probably there's remote option as well. I think, yeah, it's probably the, both the live
maybe.
and also if you can go, you can attend live or you can do remote.
So, but
Yeah.
I think the thing is, it'd be better for me. I reckon, if we spent $1,000
Mhm.
on advertising and getting our funnel out there, and we got 1,000
Right.
users,
Mhm.
right? Then I would suggest that would then tell us more to be able to multiply that up.
Okay,
And when we're
right.
generating enough money to pay for it, then it's worth
Mhm.
going, because then you start picking up the nuances on how to do what you're already doing, but quicker, because you're learning from other people who have already done it. So you're picking up on their wisdom.
Right, right.
But anyway, that's why I don't think it's a big thing
Mhm.
right now.
Okay, okay. All
The
right,
other
good.
thing then is,
Mhm.
if you're only reading, if you've limited your screen time to 60 minutes a day, and
Mhm.
you committed to reading the ebook for 30 minutes a day, how much reading of the ebook have you done?
I'm not reading, I'm listening. It's actually audio training.
No, the ebook that we've
What?
written.
Oh, the ebook we've written. Okay. So I'm looking at it, by categories. Okay. So it's I might want to figure out some ways out as well. For example, listening to it. Okay. It's you can turn PDF into something that's audible as well. That's something I do have the tools for it. So you might want to just listen to it. Um, the I do think that the more important thing at the time right now may be the structure. Okay, the structure of the content, and also uh, I think there is one question I want to ask or discuss about your thoughts, which is what's the idea now about generating 1,000 clients? Well, how do you see as the pathway towards that? Is that, for example, let's say producing the ebook, advertise that, okay, with some ads, for example, and then with whichever how many downloads, we expect there will be a certain number, let's say 1,000, get the list, and then start to advertise on the list with some kind of webinar, okay, and invite people in, and then from there to invite them to sign up for JCF and allow them to go to the newly designed system with user flow. And then expect that they will be there for a certain number. Is that the current thinking? Or
Yep.
okay, okay, all right. So pretty much a funnel process. Okay. And then it will be kind of a machine, right? Where we want to diagnose what's the I guess where's the bottleneck, right? Where's the conversion falling through or not falling through? Things like
Yep.
that. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. So I guess when do you want the ebook to be 80% done? Right now, between ebook and also the user interface fix, is there like a time for the
What you're
ebook?
saying is either or.
Right, right. I mean, like, I guess what's the next time that you like to see happen? I guess what's the next milestone? For the
Okay.
user
And I've read,
interface, right?
look, I've written, look, I put together an ebook based upon the fact that we said that this would be the first stage in the funnel ladder, right? The
Right,
value
right.
ladder. So that's
Mhm,
done. So
mhm,
you either read it or you don't read it, but it's
mhm.
got to be read, because
Okay, okay,
if we're
right,
going to put it out there, then we need to have some consensus that the content is good enough.
right, right.
If the
Sure,
content
sure.
is good enough, right?
Mhm,
Then we can go to the next stage, which is dressing it up,
Right.
right, and not just looking like some shitty PDF.
Right.
Because if you don't make it, if you don't dress it up and make it look good, then people will judge it as being valueless.
Right.
Because people value things from what they look at, not look like, not what they, not the content. But if the content is good enough, so that's the first stage. So that's got to be done. The longer that takes, the longer it's going to take to get to 1,000.
Right. So when do you like that to be done? I mean,
so that needs to be done. So simultaneously, we're also working on getting the user flow sorted so that we can get the screenshots sorted, so that we can get everything done and delivered, so that we can then hand it off to Joss to make it real.
Right.
But those are simultaneous processes. And when you sit there and tell me, Mike, I've read it, I think the content is good enough, then we can start the dressing process.
Okay. Right.
I can't start the dressing process unless I know the content is good enough.
Okay. All right. So I think for Josh, that would be Thursday, right? I think there's a deadline there.
Maybe Thursday. Yeah, maybe if we get it all done in time, maybe not.
Okay.
Because, you know, maybe Thursday. But I don't necessarily sit there and I think, I mean, if you're going to ask me, if you're going to tell me, it's got to be done by Thursday, well, maybe it will.
Okay. All right. So let's aim for Thursday for that. Okay. All right. Because I think that's, then when do you want that? I mean, the ebook, you know, I guess I can probably also give you feedback by Thursday in terms of the ebook. Okay. That okay. I think that's I guess that's the, and maybe, you know, improvements as to, again, feedbacks on whether things are consistent. Okay. So I mean, would that be a good, but I like to know, like, what's in your mind, like when do you have ideas about when these things should like all fit together? For example, like, when are we going to do the advertisements to send out things for the ebook? You know, I think maybe that date should be picked first. And that's how I work. You know, I work backwards from deadlines. Okay, from time constraints.
All right. Well, then the deadline was yesterday. Then, you know, if you want to do it like that, it's like to get it done. I mean, it kind of, you know, the deadline is always yesterday for everything.
No. I mean, right now we are looking forward. Okay. So yeah, I mean, we do want to, I think, aim for a deadline and really like launch it, right? I mean, that would be a launch as well, right? Putting advertisements out there for the ebook, right? And for the site, for the funnel site. So I mean, do you have some ideas about how this, or do you think that's something we want to like maybe have me involved in the design of the schedule? Right. Okay. So for example, like I do have a time in my mind, okay, regarding when we, you know, I wanted to have the site, you know, the well site ready so that we can onboard people and to test things out. And, you know, I think you heard me mention about that being, you know, 2 weeks, right? And probably something at the end of August.
I don't think it'll happen in 2 weeks.
No, it's not. And also, yeah, it's also, I think, because yeah, I also recognize that, you know, you want it to be of a certain you know, flow and also quality, right? So that obviously will take additional, you know, time, effort to that.
I think it's just, I just want to, you know, 80% done, right, is there's a a comprehension of what that means.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, when I look at that site right now,
Mm-hmm. Right.
it might be 80% done as far as you're concerned, but that is nowhere near 80% done as far as I'm concerned.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because
right.
I don't
right.
know what has to happen.
Okay.
You know, because you sat there and you figured it all out. And you've gone, oh well, okay, I'm starting here. I want to go there. Okay, fine. So I've joined all of those dots in my mind. I know what's going to happen. And when you say to an engineer or Josh or Sunny or whoever, right, we'll make this happen.
Right.
You give them a task and they go off and they do it, and you go, right, that's good enough.
Right.
That, for me, I would say the site is really kind of maybe 50% done.
Right now, it's
So,
more towards functions, and not for optimal user flow. That I admit.
It's non-scalable. It might theoretically work to have the basic information there, but it isn't done. And I think what I realized the other day when we were talking with Josh, he didn't understand what needed to be done.
No,
because he's not. Maybe it's not his speciality. Fine, that's cool. B, I didn't think he was really it wasn't something that he wanted to champion, so he wasn't owning it. He is only taking it on as a responsibility from the fact that he's going to get a certain amount of money for spending a certain amount of time.
And also he's limited in his time.
Yeah. All right, fine. So if he limits his time and he's our only option, then it's going to take longer. Now, the thing is, if you then sit there and go, let's assume we do everything perfect and it's 100% done, and we hand him a folder full of stuff which is 100%, and we give it to him, go, off you go, he'll go, well, that's going to take me 8 weeks.
Okay.
No matter how much you want to force him to do it in 2 weeks, we have to face the reality that it might take him 8 weeks. But what I realized the other day was that he didn't understand what needed to be done. Now that's a problem for us because we haven't been clear what we want to achieve.
Right. Correct.
And the vision that we have, so your vision is to have as many people coming on board as quickly as possible, for instance, right? So to achieve that, it has to be a lot slicker than it is. It has to be fully scalable, automated as much as possible, removing questions wherever we can. Having the kind of, that's why having that fiat to crypto transition is really important.
Right.
None of which is there at the moment. So getting that in place is really key as well.
Okay.
But that's, you see, these are all
Lower
time,
the barrier,
these are time, multipliers. Then none of these things are kind of, quick fixes. So I think putting everything on the,
is this a logistic issue, or it could be a who not how issue? What do you think? I mean, resource issue.
Regardless of whether or not you call it a logistic, operational, or who not how, it amounts to the same thing. You either do the work yourself or you get somebody else to do it. That's all there is.
Right.
But if you're getting other people to do it, then you're going to have to pay them. And until I've finished the user flow process and say to Anastasia, right, this is what it is, and then she asks me questions as a UI UX developer, and then I'll answer them as best I can. And until that happens, I won't know how long it's going to take her to scrap a design together, no matter how 80-20 it is, right? So I can guess, but I don't. what's the point in guessing when we don't know? I'd rather sit there and have
we
that
should ask
conversation.
the person doing it how much time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So saying, well, it's going to be done by Thursday, no idea. Saying that, okay, if we want, I mean, she did ask me about our deadline and when we wanted to get it done by. And I was saying, well, ultimately, we want 1,000 people by. Now we said in June, right? So we were in Thingy Bob in June. So we said, oh, let's get it. So that's July, August, September, right? So that's 3 months.
Exactly.
Well,
Q3.
look where we are now. How long has it taken? Everything takes a lot longer than we anticipate.
Right. So, Mike, let me ask you this though. Do you think we can get to 1,000 people by end of September, given our current process pace and I guess progress?
No.
No, right? I think the answer is no. Right. So let me ask the question. So how can we make it happen? What would be required if we want that to happen by the end of September? What's your answer to that question?
A lot more hours work.
Okay, so you mentioned hours work. Okay, like how much hours? How many hours?
Well, it's Elon Musk sleeping in his office until the job's done hours.
Okay. So you think
It's
that
not
would be
60 minutes reading a day hours, right?
So you think that would be the approach to get it done to 1,000 by September?
Well, yeah. I mean I think that's part of what startup is. Is like until we see.
Okay.
It's not about just dishing out the work and only limiting yourself. It's about working bloody hard until you've reached your objective. And that objective is, okay,
So you also think that's true, right?
Go to Jim Collins, Good to Great. When he uses that whole thing of a flywheel, I'm not sure if the flywheel's meant to go that way or that way, right? But anyway, so it takes, first of all, you're just doing these tiny, tiny, tiny little movements. You're doing a lot of them. And then eventually there starts to be a bit of momentum building. And then as that momentum grows, you just have to do very little to keep the momentum going.
Right.
And we're at the stage now where if we want, we're kind of doing this, whereas what we should be doing is this. I think that's my perception anyway. And I think for us to get 1,000 by the end of September, then it's really reliant on a lot of other people putting in the same level of effort, or indeed putting in more effort than what we're doing. But I'm sitting here on a public holiday talking to you from 9 o'clock, and I've already put in an hour and a half of work in already.
Okay. All right.
And I'm doing stuff on my weekends and stuff when I should be, when theoretically, that's personal time. It's not flow.
But you also, I mean, that you're doing this in the hope that we can get to 1,000 somehow, right?
Yeah. Look, okay. So I think.
No.
So I think
I guess my question is, yeah. Okay. My real question is, okay, I think obviously we are moving towards this goal with certain approach, right? But my question is, if we are not even believing that this will actually make it happen, then that would be very demoralizing, right?
No, I don't say that. I'm not saying I don't believe it will happen. I do believe it will happen. I just don't think you're going to do it in 2 weeks.
I see. And so not by September, right?
No, I don't. I genuinely don't believe that as we stand today, right? I don't think we will get to the destination in time.
Why not?
Why not? Because I don't think there's enough work being put in for it to happen. And
you believe that it is the amount of work that's going to affect this result?
If I had an open checkbook, right, and I could spend as much money on hiring as many devs, UX coders, whatever, and putting into place. So, for instance, the to give you one example of money, right, as a money thing, these guys that do the fiat to crypto transactions, they have an institutional platform which does all the transaction stuff and gives you the AML, the KYC, all the rest of it. But they charge £13,500 per year for that service. Now that would be the ideal service, I think, for us, because it'll all be API'd, it'll all be interlinked. We wouldn't have to worry about. We could then have them using doing their KYC and
Which
AML.
company is this?
This is one. They're the other guys that are similar to.
It's the one.
Cybrid.
I mean, okay, similar to Cybrid, right?
Yeah. So they've been operational for 5 years. So there's you know.
So it's 32,000 per year.
13.
Oh, 13,000. Okay, 13,000.
Yeah, 13,200 or something stupid like that.
Okay.
Point is, that would be a simple fix for that one problem, right?
Right.
Getting Josh, Shani, or whoever, you know, however many other devs on the program to do it within a 2-week period would be doable, right? But we don't have that.
No.
We don't have the answers to all this.
But then again, do we have to have that to get to the 1,000?
No, but then that's a time thing. My point.
Right. I see. It's you can translate into a who not how as well, right? I mean, basically.
Okay. How many who not hows have you onboarded where we don't have to exchange time for money? How many?
So far, none.
Right. Okay. I've given you one today, right?
Right.
But of course, it takes our time
to find.
That's yours and my time to move things forward.
Okay.
So I'm not saying we're not going to do it. I believe we are going to do it. I'm not demoralized that.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just exploring all possibilities. Okay. I'm asking a question to try to find out, is there something we're overlooking? Is there something we haven't considered? Is there maybe perhaps a shorter path?
What is it?
Maybe perhaps there's a shorter path, a quicker path, an easier path, or who know how, or a wormhole, right?
Or what do you think it is then?
That can actually jump through that, right? So if you want my honest answer, I have 2 thoughts, although they could be scary. Okay. First is, funnel-wise, I believe, though I have no evidence, I believe joining FHL, Funnel Hack Live, the event, and participate fully will help our funnel to upgrade to the level it might be, you know, and to actually an effective funnel. Because while it costs $1,000, but it's a lot of experiences, a lot of sharing, a lot of, you know-how, a lot of people, a lot of experts that we will be able to access to. It's also a forcing function. Okay, it's also, you know, an event. So actually paying $1,000 to attend the event and then try to learn as much, try to apply as much, do the Elon Musk stuff, you know, within those 4 days, I think might help us to get a working funnel. Actually, according to Russell, you're always one funnel away. I mean, that's the mindset thing, but it could be the 16th, the 30th, the 75th funnel you're building. So the key is to continuously, you know, creating, testing different funnels until one works, right? A lot of iterations. And that require actually, you know, getting a handle of how the funnel platform works. Now, so that's the scary thing in terms of both time and money investment. Now, I do have a second thought about how to increase the development cycle. which is adding myself as a core developer. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I do know a little bit of programming and also logic. I enjoy writing elegant code in my past days. I still like to believe that, you know, I'm a competent programmer. Okay. And so I'm saying this is a scary thought, right?
It's not
Because
scary for me. I think that's a pigging wonderful idea.
oh yeah, I know. Yeah. So
I'd rather
you
you
know,
get on and do that sort of thing than that would make me
I
feel so energized and happy.
I am sure, I'm sure, given my knowledge, my motivation, and you know, technical skills, I might just iterate the system a lot faster.
Yeah, I think you probably would, but I'd rather hear about that than you telling me that you're cutting down the amount of time you're going to be doing stuff from to 60 minutes. And I'd rather hear about, right, I'm taking this coding on, I'll get this stuff coded. As soon as you
Right,
give me
right.
this, I'll code it. And if I need to
Yeah,
bring
yeah,
Joss in,
yeah.
then I'll bring
Okay.
Joss in.
So Mike, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Let me make an offer.
No, but before you, look, I want to tell you about
I'm scared.
ClickFunnels.
I'm scaring the shit out of myself if I'm making this offer. Okay, but go ahead. Please complete your sentence first.
Well, look, so ClickFunnels. So you've just given me two lines of thought there, right? So I've responded to the second one. ClickFunnels. What is this live event? It is a funnel. What is it for? It is so that Russell will get people onto ultimately his $1 million program, right?
Right.
He wants the next set of people to go from reading his books to attending his
Right.
funnel,
Exactly.
to doing his mastermind. So the next
It's very
stage of
transparent.
that live event is that you sign up for the $15,000 a year kind of funnel.
Mhm.
The next thing is the purpose of you you linked going to that event to us getting 1,000 by September. The event is on the 26th, 27th of October, September. So that leaves you with 4
No.
days.
Is it
Yes.
September?
Yes, it is.
It's September. Okay.
So 26th, 27th or something of September. It's the end of September.
Okay.
It does not correlate with us getting our goal.
Oh.
I
Okay.
don't think that event is of value to us today. You said, oh, Russell says we need to do, it's not, we're only one funnel away. Yeah, I've read that. And it could be, however many funnels are your iterations before you make it work. Yeah, I agree with that. I get that as well. That's true. The excitement is that you are only one funnel away, right?
Right.
But we don't even have one funnel.
It is.
Well, we don't even have one
No,
yet.
we don't. No.
And the reason is because we take too long to do things.
Right.
My joy in hearing you saying I'm ready to start coding is a relief, because it means we could accelerate a lot of what we're doing so much so we can get things done faster than sitting there and debating about whether or not to spend $1,000 each on attending an event, which may or may not be. I mean, to be honest with you, what's the point in spending $1,000 to go to a live event if you're going virtually? I'm not sold on the idea at all, because I don't think it's going to give us $1,000 worth of value in return today. I think we would be better off putting that money towards paying for advertising for the funnel once we've got it up and operational. And whilst your natural ability is not with sales and marketing, my natural ability is not with coding.
Okay.
We should be focusing on our strengths, right?
Exactly.
On where our areas of expertise are.
Right. Sure.
And if yours is the logical solving of problems in a technology to get the technology done,
Right.
That makes sense. Mine, I'm getting the handle on. I thought the other day, gosh, Michael, you assumed so much of JCF had been taken care of with certain elements, and I've never really questioned it. But the more I dig into it, the more I think, gosh, we haven't done this, we haven't done this. From a sales and marketing point of view, we need to have this, this, and this. I've only just got, what's his name? What's the guy in the States, Canada we met, the really nice guy. Went for dinner with him.
Canada?
Eldon,
right, Canada.
So he's just come back to me on Sunday night. He sent me a text message saying, yeah, I'd love to go through the portal, because he doesn't think he's ready yet. And I think that I don't think sending him through that portal at the moment is any good, because I don't think he's working. So I think I'll tell you what we do for Thursday. Then you let me finish off the user. Yeah, no, not the wireframe, the user flow, right?
Okay.
Which will then try and put the wireframes to that. Then I think Anastasia and I can have the dialogue and then have some timelines about when we can get things done. I think to answer your ultimate question about when are we going to have 1,000, well, okay. I still think a 3-month timeline from the
my question is not when. My question is how can we get 1,000 by September? That's my question. And my question is intended to stimulate ideas about potential pathways that we haven't explored yet. And I just offer one, right?
But a pathway we haven't explored. We haven't actually explored the pathway, the first pathway that we've spoken about, which is ClickFunnels. We haven't explored it because we haven't done it. No good having an idea and then not executing on it, right? So, and there are things that we need to do.
A funnel, right? A working funnel, as as quickly as possible, something like that, right? Get the first funnel done.
So, has the ebook been read yet? Have we got it done? No. So we need to get that step. When we've got that step done, I've already written what the offer is. We've already written we help people too. We've already done all of that. It just needs to be put into but there's, the spending time to do that, the spending time to do dressing up the ebook once we've got it done, the spending time getting the user flow so that when we do get the 1,000, then they can go somewhere.
Okay.
So we're doing things. I feel, from being honest, I'm spending my time doing multiple things in a process of, if the journey is 1 to 10, I feel I'm spending my time doing something in, 1, 3, 5, and 7, 9, and 10, right?
What's the most critical though?
Well, I mean, I don't. Okay, the most critical. What is the most critical? Well, it's getting the first. It's getting the first step done, completed. Then we can sit there and know what the second step is.
Okay. Okay.
We also have to know
done, right? Get the ebook done, for example. Get the ebook done, for example. Having completion, right?
Right. So,
okay.
As far as I'm concerned, it's done. It's done enough. But I know that when you do it first time round, first draft is never enough.
Right. True. Okay. All right.
But the longer it takes.
Okay. Sorry. I just sent Josh a message. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
The longer it takes?
Well, the longer it takes, the longer it takes.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I just like to encourage. We all think about what's it going to take to get 1,000 by September. I think that's, yeah. I mean, obviously there are obvious things we can do. We for example, finish the ebook, finish the user flow, get it, get developers to work on it, or even putting myself into, as one of the developer. But again, I think the question is still, do we actually think that's the pathway that's going to get 1,000 by September? Or are there still things that we're missing? Right?
Well,
for example, bring a funnel marketing expert to be part of the team to actually work with us or consult us with what's it actually going to do, to actually make it work, for example. I'm just, giving example. All right. So anyway, I think probably this is,
I don't have a problem
Mm-hmm.
with getting other people into the team. I have a problem if it's just what I've always been like this. And what frustrated me when I had my very first proper job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, we knew what needed to be done in the company,
Okay.
right, from a sales and marketing point of view, and we knew how if the technical guys could do X, Y, Z, and we knew what was making a profit, and we knew what was good.
Mm-hmm.
This was back in '96, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the directors decided to bring in some consultants.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the consultant sat there and went, yeah, 80-20. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they went around and they spoke to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then they turned around to the directors and went, this is our report. You should do this, this, and this. And when we looked at it, it was like, these half-wits who don't know the business have just spoken to us and told you what we would have told you. And it's just, there's a difference between calling somebody in because you do not understand what needs to be done and you have no idea, or you understand that what needs to be done but you cannot do it, and then you call somebody in for their assistance. And that's different to bringing somebody in when you know what needs to be done. It's just you're not doing it.
Okay.
And there's a choice there. You're doing it because you're letting an expert do something which they're naturally good at, right? And that's that whole who, not how. Right? Why should you do it? But again, you're spending money where it's ultimately going to end up being you're going to spend something somehow, unless you can find unless you're telling me that you've got somebody who's going to work for token only.
Okay.
And I'm the only one who's found somebody who will work for token only.
Okay. Right.
Because it's a rare thing that somebody's got that entrepreneurial mindset to sit there and go, I'll take a risk on this. I will learn something from this. There's an asymmetric upside if it all goes well.
Okay. All right.
And
yeah. So we might want to onboard more partners, right, as well, who can work on tokens. I think if that's success, right, that's something maybe we should replicate and amplify as well, right? All right. So Mike, thanks. I mean, this is what I'll do. I probably will want to get a deep dive onto the current technical stuff with Josh, and also just to understand, what's currently going on, and evaluate how, adding me, how and in what ways might have best help the project. Okay. And I think that right now, faster iteration is probably something. For example, some of the more specialized things that might require longer time block, right? Those things might be something we still want to have specialized people, maybe to do it. Okay, but maybe some of the minor fix, or I guess tying up some integration issues. Those might be something I can help to, to address, or I guess maybe to. Anyway, I think I want to take a deeper dive. Okay, in terms of what's the bottleneck now. in terms of, how they might want to change. Yeah, okay. So right now it's end of August. Okay. So I guess what we're asking is we want to launch a funnel onto a launch system. So that's 2 launches by the end of September to have 1,000 participants into the actual system. Okay. So yeah. All right, that's a
See,
dual
here's the
challenge.
thing. So even if we were to launch at the end of September,
No,
there's
yeah, go
no
ahead.
guarantee that, all right, fine, Shinyan, even if we launch tomorrow, right, there's no guarantee that what we've structured and how we've launched it will actually work.
True. And that's when we want to iterate, right? We want to
Yeah.
diagnose, iterate, yeah. And
But
the
if you're
more
not
iteration
doing
we can
it,
do, the better.
yeah, you're not doing it, you're not learning on what needs to be done.
Right. Yeah. My whole point is we want to speed up the iteration cycles. Yeah. So, all right. Okay. So, yeah, I'm actually in a position now, I guess with a bit more flexibility and freedom from time, can really focus on some work stuff. There's something else I'd, maybe share with you on Thursday. I mean, better share in private. This is all public sharing, right? And yeah, and the other thing is, oh yeah, but I do want to just share one more win. I just booked a ticket to go back to Canada PEI mid
All right.
October, okay, for 3 months. I will return before winter vacation. So I will be in Canada for 3 more months. And the ticket has already been bought and paid. So that's a forcing function. So I have strong incentive again to get to the 1,000, before my flight departure, because it's going to be, I think a changing environment, new life, new stuff. And, if we can get to 1,000, preferably by the end of September, but, at latest mid-October, that will be an important milestone, right? I think that would be definitely something to celebrate because that validates our model, validates our website, validates our funnel. So I think that's what I like to aim for. Yeah.
How is the investment element of what we're doing?
The investment element, you mean the actual ROI for JCF or?
Yep.
Okay, so that's the part I think I want to delegate that to. That hasn't been increasing, but I think again, I think having more getting poets to help to check on that might help. Also, I think yeah, some of the client service. I'm also thinking about asking her to help out. That some of the more admin stuff, like the actual withdrawal, not the interaction with clients, but the actual execution of the withdrawal. So yeah.
Let me find. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm just grabbing a URL. Bear with me a second.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, and one more thing is that, okay, regarding my message about separating the personal and work message, I'm thinking about, do we still want to use Telegram for it? So Endotech.
Look, I mean, I'd rather just use one mechanism, right?
Okay.
So have you? So I've sent the. Are you happy with the link that I've just sent you?
Endotech. Okay, so this is the.
I'll explain that in a moment.
Okay, all right.
Don't
Sure.
worry about it right now. As long as you've got it, then that's great.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what I don't know is if I send you a message, whether or not you've received it or not, and
Okay.
not so much recently, but in the past, I got really frustrated because it just felt like I was just tossing something out the window, and then nothing happens.
Right.
But I mean, for me, having to go and read Slack and then having to go and read Telegram and then having to go and all of them, it's just a pain in the ass.
Right.
So if it was one platform where we're going to do stuff, then I'd rather just do it on one platform and I don't understand the need for multiple platforms.
Ones. Right. Okay.
I default to WhatsApp because it's common for so many things.
Right.
I think probably Slack is probably the better channel.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
From
Slack doesn't tell you if the other person has seen it, though, right? It doesn't show whether someone has read it.
No, but I don't know.
But it's good for archival. I mean, Slack is designed for work purpose, actually. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So how about let's switch our work stuff to Slack, okay, and just keep, I guess, any personal things or any kind of emergency things on WhatsApp, and that's just close down the Telegram.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean that's yeah, because I still talk to people on Telegram, so that's fine. But
oh no, I'm talking about the UK group. I mean, no longer use that as a work mechanism. I think we were using that due to Nick and Joy, right?
Yeah,
it was a way to get them involved, but I don't think it's serving that need. We don't have that need anymore.
No.
So
okay.
I mean,
fine.
agree?
So we'll just
I mean, I just like to simplify things. Okay. So I mean, just start to send out everything on Slack. Okay, and we'll close the Telegram group.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So Endotech.
Yeah. So how about that?
So
yeah.
When I last had a chat with Nick, he said that they were using Endotech.
Okay.
So I've been looking at it personally for my own benefit.
Okay.
But they work for both institutions and individuals.
Okay.
And it's about they don't, so it's all AI driven kind of trading, and they do not, and they interface already with different wallets. So you enable you choose the kind of the strategy that you want, and then it runs it. And so it can generate obviously it's caveated with, things go up and down, but they've seen results of anywhere from 300% to 5,000% customers, depending on the type of strategy that they hold. One thing that they said, that buy and hold kind of mentality is not something that they adhere to. Their automation and AI is for constant trading.
Okay.
But I think if you want to look at it from the point of view of automated trading, then that is an option to take.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But you would have to kind of make that judgment yourself based upon what, the amount of input that you currently have to put into it.
Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. Okay. So I think hopefully today was a good discussion, and I think there's something that I'm throwing in, and yeah, I think I'll definitely want to look at how to make the end of September thing work, which I still think, yeah, if we are practicing what we learn right, I think there might just be pathways that we're not yet taking yet. Yeah. So, all right. And first off, from me putting more time, right? Okay. All right. So thanks, Mike. Definitely would like to experiment all possibilities. And yeah, but I think the important thing is to keep in mind that there just might be unseen pathways that's ahead. So all right. So take care. I'll see you on Thursday, right? Thursday, 9 a.m. UK time.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
So take care.
Have a good
Yeah.
day.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye-bye.
Enjoy the week. Bye-bye.
Yeah.